Everybody, we're back in action with the second set of class runs. Ian Richards on the hill now with the Renault Clio Cup in class A1 for 2 litre 2 production cars, and not quite sure what the 3 will, because I think got red flags out at the moment.
No, he's not reached me at the top of the hill. And the clock's still ticking away, so...
well, he's half down the line of vision now, so it must be somewhere on through the straight that we lost the image. He was second in class after the first run on a 56.1.5. But looks like a trial run for Ian on the second run, so that's the time that's going to stand. Class is led by Richard Brandt with a great run in the Renault Clio Sport on 64.84. You'll see him in the next batch for Ian, which is now coming back to the paddock, so somewhere out of our sight there was a problem for Ian. Unfortunately, that looks as though it's going to be a failed run. Mr. Suffy, meanwhile, is touring back through the paddock after having a red flag in that VW Touareg, which is sharing with David Finlay as part of their, well, the last time they've had their multi-car hill climb challenge, a different car for each of the hill climb leaders round. So we'll see him again on a rerun very shortly. So the next car we can see is Fiona Rogers in the Impreza, also running in class A2, the over 2 litre road going series production car. That's led by Nigel Burke in the Impreza on a 50.24. Robin Gay in the fourth. Fiona Rogers then away from the line. 2.5 seconds. Interesting comparison with the 1.8 to 1.9 we saw in the British Championship runoff. This is in the Impreza, of course. Those are quick time for loggerheads, but here comes Fiona now. Yeah, 17.49. So she comes into the right-handed triangle with the Impreza. Outside the top 6 in the class at the moment. She dives into loggerheads round the right and round the left, and up Cedar Straight with that vicious kink in the middle, and she'll shortly be in the sight of our commentator at the top of the hill, Lee Wilkins.
Yep, and here comes Fiona now into Fallow Bend. Little squid of the tyres as she accelerates up towards Museum. Over the crest, through the finish, 7 seconds exactly.
57 seconds exactly then for Fiona Rogers, but a little bit of a problem down here at Triangle for Joy Hoyle, who went straight on around the wrong side of the cone to rejoin the course. So, well, she did get a time, but it might not be quite as good as her opening to 58.53 centre fifth.
Joy still pressing on, heading up into Museum Bend with the Suzuki Hayabusa powered Caterham. And over the crest and through the finish, 57.85.
Well, not far
quicker.
Like that moment, but wheeling the tyres round Triangle, it's that massive machine of Alistair Suffy on the rerun with the VW Touareg. 71.03 after the first run. Just a couple of seconds, or just inside a couple of seconds slower than co-driver David Finlay, so the big car should be with you any second now.
Yeah, here comes the VW, looking quite high on its wheels, of course, with the ground clearance that you get with these four-wheel drives. Tyres screaming in protest as you go around Museum. And over the finish, 68.06. Goes ahead of his co-driver.
That's a good improvement for Alistair Suffy. Obviously getting used to this massive machine.
And the car's already heading back down the hill.
Well, we've not actually seen David Warburton yet. We were expecting to see him to complete his short open back. He's one of our registered contenders for the British Championship, so he would be looking for a place in second runoff, but
last car heading down the hill is the VW Touareg with Alistair Sutty at the wheel. As soon as he's back into the paddock, we'll be restarting the event. Should be number 15, Paul Jones in the Lotus leading the way.
Well, meanwhile, Eddie Eagle Eye Walder has just seen David Warman putting his helmet on in the paddock, so presumably he will be running in the next batch, and probably Father Allen will be sitting it out as he did the first one. So hopefully we'll see David Warman in the case of Eurotech in the batch, for which I will hand over to Eddie.
Yes, indeedy. That'll be me then.
And for you, just one block for the runoff qualifying to concentrate on in this batch. And he's got that
Even I can cope with that.
Well, I had the job before lunch, it's your turn after.
Anyway, there's all sorts of comments on Facebook about the live screening of the picture and the commentary. Somebody said they point the camera at the commentary box, there will be neither life nor action. But we're getting out all around the world, you know.
Are you going as far as Wick?
Far afield is Yas Marina Circuit. Right, car on the hill, that's Paul Jones. So we're back to Class A1. Paul Jones set a 67.21 earlier on today, which put him third in the class. We've just seen second place Ian Richards suffer a failed run, so it's for Paul Jones to come right through on the inside and snatch second place, possibly first for Richard Brandt. So there's Paul Jones, he's from a certain place in Worcestershire, not very far away from a certain hill climb in Worcestershire.
So, looking out for Paul Jones in the Lotus lead. 135R, here he comes into view. Heading up into Museum Bend. Now over the crest of the hill, running through to the finish, and a lot better. It's a 61.86. Straight into the lead of the class.
Still some way off Sarah Bosworth's 57.76 record, however, but a dramatic improvement there. And now here comes Paul Stripey Webster, and erstwhile competition secretary.
Meanwhile, we've got Anthony Record in the Proton. Didn't trouble the scorers on his first run. Now coming out of Museum Bend. A little bit scarred is the old car, and Anthony through the finish 71.26. Already into Fallow, Paul Webster, all the way from Gerston down. Ooh, locks up the back end onto the grass on the outside. This is not going to be an improvement of time for Mr. Webster. I have to look that one up in the dictionary, 66.06. It is an improvement. How do you do that?
Third place overall. On the hill, you're going to see David Garnett coming your way. Same car as Ian Richards, of course.
Yeah, David Garnett's already out of Fallow Bend, heading up towards Museum.
Now here's Ken Williamson.
And David Garnett through the finish 66.5.
That maintains his fourth position overall. Oh no, fifth position, I beg his pardon. So now you've got Ken Williamson coming your way. We're looking at the class leader, previous class leader Richard Brandt. Can he snatch it away from Paul Jones on his last run of the weekend?
Ken Williamson in the elite through Museum Bend already. 7.45 on his first run. He's going to be a lot quicker this time with a 65.7.
Richard Brandt pressing on extremely well. Goes past. Ken Williamson moved up to third there. Richard Brandt sitting second. He'll be quite keen to snatch back the first place and take the win.
Yeah, well, here he comes into Fallow Bend. Set a new personal best to Loton Park on his first run with a 64.84. Takes the car into Museum Bend, lifts the inside rear wheel. Now on the run to the finish. Clock's ticking away, and it's a 63.33 for Richard Brandt, second place.
Hangs on to second place. Gives the win away to Paul Jones, which is not unusual. Paul, the regular class winner this season in Class A1 in the Midlands.
We've now got number 24, George Harding, the National B runner in Class A2, into and out of Museum Bend in the Mitsubishi Evo 6, 61.77 on his first run. Looks like he's going to improve, and he goes sub 60 with a 59.56.
And to be followed by another Harding, that's John Harding in the classic Jaguar E-Type fixed head coupe.
Yeah, and the little Jaguar looking petite on the track compared to that Mitsubishi Evo we just saw. Already around in Museum, heading up over the crest of the hill and through the finish, 63.38 for John Harding. So all these runners were this morning.
Lots of heavy steering and tyre noise action from Steve Davey in the Honda Accord Type R. Absolutely going for it.
Steve Davey appears on Cedar Straight into Fallow already. This Honda Accord is for sale at the moment. Steve posted a 67.33 on his first run. Looking to get into the low 66s, I would have thought. He's already heading to the finish. It is going to be quicker, 65.64 for Steve Davey.
Meanwhile, we've just seen Gordon Hick go past us. First time out at Loton in the Seat Leon Cooper. All these other cars now sold. Leon Cooper, 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine. And off goes Tony Batterby. And spins out of Fletcher's Dello. He's going to return to the track though. Rodney behaves himself. Here he goes.
Gordon Hickman, meanwhile, heading out of Museum Bend in the Seat Leon Cooper. And he's through the finish, 67.03.
Well, Tony Batterby continues on his way towards you, Steve, but he's lost about 2 or 3 seconds down here, maybe more. Bit of sweeping going on too.
Well, Tony appears heading up into Fallow Bend. Well, he's pushing on still, although he's not going to make an improvement on his first run, 69.04, but nonetheless pushing hard and heading over the crest of the hill and through the finish in 76.8.
Yeah, there's probably 6 or 7 seconds he chucked away there with that spin. As I say, a bit of sweeping going on. We'll be back in action very, very quickly indeed. The guys are returning to the marshal's post already. So Tony will be asked to go and replace his divots later on.
New ball, please.
And the chap last week at Doon, he left I would call it a 6-foot divot the size of the stretcher in the rescue unit because it broke up as it hit the deck. I got a lovely stock shot of it.
Yes, I've seen a photograph of the marshal carrying away the offending divot.
Yeah. And it's just coming out of Junction and heading first bit of the meadow when he did that. So we're just dealing with some wasps in here. Jerry's going to get the insect spray out, but he's going to actually, I think he's going to hit it with the aerosol rather than spray it. Otherwise, his sandwiches would taste funny. He's put so much fear up it that it's gone. Right, guys, are back on post.
You don't mess with the Terminator.
No, you don't. No, I've seen the picture of it. love to tell you about the car on the line, but we've got the no video available message again now. So Robert Lancaster Gay, we were expecting Robert, and he's quickly away. Only 2.2 seconds. 64 feet, pretty good for a road car. And Nigel Burt leading on a 60.2 score. Robert Lancaster Gay looking to make up some time. He's already down here with us at Triangle Turn this side. In the bright sunlight down here, a few shadows from the trees, falling the apex of the bend.
And Robert Lancaster Gay, potential class winner with the Porsche, coming into Fallow. Now on the little shoot up into Museum Bend. Out of Museum, powering towards the finish, and it's a 59.74 for Robert Lancaster Gay.
Right, here comes the Touareg, and it did roll a little bit that time. I can't see out the window now, so much fly spray on the glass.
I thought it might have been on your glass. A bit indiscriminate. So we're looking out for David Finley, a journalist from Scotland. Used to campaign a Vauxhall Nova for many seasons. Cuts the corner at Fallow, but that should be no problem with traction from the big VW Touareg.
There's Sean Toms going past us, lots of tyre noise from the Boxster S. By the way, Robert Lancaster Gay moved into the head of the class there.
And time for David Finley, 68.68, beaten by his co-driver. Now, here we've got the Bush Boxster of Sean Toms.
Old Park goes past us.
Sean Toms over the finish, 64.58. 64.58 of UPV for Sean at Loton Park. Now we're looking out for Dave half of the course. Here he is with the Ford Sierra Cosworth. A little bit of dust appearing to be picked up as he came through the corner at Fallow. Now into Museum. And across the finishing line, 61.76.
And that's Peter Herbert, registered for the British Championship, going past us. We haven't got a block for him. And Peter Herbert should be up with you now. We're looking out for Paul Harris.
Yeah, Peter Herbert out of Fallow, heading up to Museum in his 911. Campaigned to Westfield for many, many seasons. Now he's just running the Porsche. He's through the finish, 64.7.
Right, bit of noise from the Nigel Burt car, jets away from the start line. He was in the lead of the class. Will he pull that one back from Robert Lancaster Gay? Or will it be the Porsche drivers class for today?
Paul Harris, meanwhile, up into Museum Bend with the Mitsubishi, the 6319 on his first run. Looks like he's going to 60.9.
Nigel Burt truly pressing on regardless. Definitely looking to snatch back the class lead and the win.
Well, he's got the potential. He's already done a 58.71 this season with the car here at Loton Park. What can he do on this run? Clips the corner at Fallow. Now up into Museum.
And now here's Jamie Powell in the Evo 5.
And Nigel Burke heads through the finish. 59.86 goes second.
So, currently the class lead with Robert Lancaster Gay. Still we've seen the last couple of runners in this class, who will be Jamie Powell on the hill and Chris Rogers, who's coming towards us right now.
Yep, Jamie Powell up into Museum. Jamie did a 65.1 on his first run, but he's going to be a lot quicker, and it's a 62.54 for Jamie Powell.
Chris Rogers with you to complete the class, and we have a car. Craig Spooner away from the start line, moving on to Class B.
So Chris Rogers into Museum with the Impreza, 66.53 on his first run, and slightly slower, 66.5 for Chris Rogers, so no improvement.
Craig Spooner passed us in the Westfield SEIW.
And the little Rover K-powered Westie into Fallow already. Craig Spooner's first run 66.43. Looking to get, I would have thought, into the low 60-second bracket. Going to be there or thereabouts. And it's a 60.19, a new personal best for Loton Park.
And now on his way towards you, Jack Cotterill, John Pick on the hill in the AMS Messiah. Another of the many Hillclimb cars for sale this weekend.
Yes, Jack Cotterill already out of Museum, heading towards the finish. Got the clocks on 62.13.
I love the way John Pick's got the brake lights wide on that Messiah. Not only do the brake lights come on at the back, but the side lights at the front.
Yeah, well, the side lights were on momentarily as he came into Fallow. Now opens up the Impreza engine in the AMS Messiah. Through Museum, heading towards the finish. And it's a 63.08.
Meanwhile, we're sending Jerry Neary on his way towards you as we await Timmy Higgins.
Jerry Neary with us at Fallow, Powered Westfield. 66.48 on his first run, rounding Museum. Looks like he's going to be in the low 60s. It is 62.94 for Jerry Neary.
So all action at the wheel from Tim Higgins, as always. Is the spectacular at Museum.
Yeah, Tim Higgins totally committed. Which way he should be. Here he comes up into Museum.
Look out, look out. Here comes Hillclimb's very own Professor Ray Law. Oxford Professor.
Tim Higgins over the finish, 60.03. Good improvement there of over 6 seconds. Here comes the Professor into Fallow. Ray Law with the Caterham.
And Steve Day, we told you before, he's the principal of the Hillclimb School. Obviously not obeying his own lessons at all as he locks up both fronts into triangle.
Time for Ray Law, 56.41.
And interesting to note that all the times are substantially quicker than the first run times. In fact, a lot of the drivers are saying in the cold of the early morning that their lines last up.
And here's that Mason, he's really treading on the pedals.
Steve Day through the finish, 55.63.
Ash Mason absolutely going for it.
Yeah, here comes Ash Mason in the Suzuki Hayabusa powered Westie.
Steve Garner rolling down the hill. Box up the left front.
Ash Mason hits the rev limiter over the finish, 56.22 is his time. Garner into Fallow already with the Vauxhall powered Westfield.
And here comes Ken Evans. A bit late on the brakes, but doesn't lock them up. Ken already around keepers and away from us.
And the time for Steve Garner, exactly the same as Ash Mason, 56.22. Ken Evans arrives at Fallow. Powers the little Caterham 7 with the Suzuki Hayabusa engine up into Museum Bend.
Former Midland champion Dave Wilson coming down the hill, turning into Triangle.
Time for Ken Evans, new personal best, 54.46.
Roger Moran on the hill. Roger had the lead snatched away from him, both by Steve Day and Ken Evans over the last couple of runs. So we're looking to grab that one back, and here he is now.
Dave Wilson meanwhile comes to the museum with the Vauxhall powered Caterham 7. Ooh, a bit of fluff gear change before the finish, 56.07 is his time.
He was a bit heavy on the gears down here as he left Triangle. Roger Moran with you, and away from the start line is somebody unidentified.
So Ken Evans, 54.46 is the time for Roger to beat. He's already up into Museum Bend, pushing the little Caterham to the limit, heading for the finish, and it's a 54.21.
Yeah, and here's David Warburton swapping places in the run with his dad, not taking a run today at all.
Yeah, David Warburton comes into view with the Duratec Power Caterham, uses every millimetre of track on the exit of Fallow, through Museum Bend, powers it towards the finish, and 53.67 is his time, takes the lead in the class.
And the lead for him. And that also puts him quickest for our next runoff.
Meanwhile, we've got Pearson in the Suzuki Hayabusa powered Westfield up into Museum Bend. Ooh, a little bit of the slide from the back of the Westfield as he went into the corner, but he controlled it nicely through the finish, 55.48.
The class win there going to David Warburton on the second last run in the class for the weekend. And now Tim Cross, so this is the end of the batch when Tim's taken his run in little Vauxhall Nova Merit, which was a dealer special. Cheeky.
And the Kermit Green Vauxhall round Fallow, now heading up into Museum Bend. Tim did a 70.97 on his first run, but he's going to be a lot quicker this time, and it's a 68.39. That's the new personal best for Tim. And cars already heading down the hill.
Right, we'll give you a roundup of the class positions. Now we've seen 2 runs for each, so subject obviously to declaration and confirmation at the end of the meeting. I will tell you that in Class A1 the positions are as follows. Paul Jones taking the win, 61.86. Richard Brandt in the Clio, 63.33 in second. And in third place, Ken Williamson, 65.7 and third. All of those times taken on their second run of the afternoon, as Jerry pointed out. Track a lot quicker this afternoon. And the third position is exactly the same in Class A2, all bar 2 made an improvement in the class in their second set of runs. And Robert Lancaster Gay in A2, the winner, 59.74 is winning time, ahead of Nigel Burke, the early leader, and Nigel did a 59.86, and Paul Harris, third place, 60.69. Only Lancaster Gay and Burke under the 60-second barrier. And into Class A2, the B licence runners, only George Harding there, his better run this afternoon, 59.56. Then we'll have a look at Class B. hotly contested as always. Probably just about as hotly contested as the 700cc single-seaters class. And the win going on his second run of the day to Dave Warburton, 53.67 in the family caterham. In second place, 97 Hillclimb champion Roger Moran. He did a 54.21 on his second run. And in third place with his personal best, Ken Evans, 54.46. And we'll give you the fourth place as a consolation goes to visitor Piers Thin, 55.48. And that's as far as we can go so far. We'll be looking at Class C1 in just a few moments' time when we recommence. Do remember also that the catering outlets remain open this afternoon. One at the top of the paddock, one behind us at Triangle. Also the bar is now open, the ice cream van. Kevin from Bromyard is with us, and also the Loton Park shop, stocking a range of memorabilia and what is rather quaintly called regalia. Ask anybody under the age of 30 what regalia is, and they say, isn't that what the Lord Mayor wears, isn't it? Chain of office. So all those opportunities await you behind us at Triangle or at the top of the paddock. Also look for our sponsors in your programme. British Hillclimb Championship, sponsored by Avon Tyres and the CTC Group, both that and the leaders, the class-based leaders. The Midland Hillclimb Championship, sponsored by BMCR. Top 10 Challenge, sponsored by also by TTC Group. And the Uresley Book Auctions Challenge Trophy for the more mature amongst us and the younger amongst us. And of course, as always, at every Loton Park meeting, a round of the Horsewage UK Loton Park Championship.
Back in action with the 1400cc modified series production cars now, Class C1. Glyn Davis leads the line with the Ford Anglia in the class led by Cole Jones in the 16-valve Austin Mini from Andy Russell. Evergreen engine entering. You can see the Anglia now coming to the final. Second group, just like the old days when they used to be raced in the 60s by drivers such as Chris Craft. Some of you may be old enough to remember him. Thomas Taylor's next up with the Mini, but Glyn Davis with QC.
Yep, and the little angle box comes into view. Down a gear. You can on the track on the exit of Fallow up into the museum. Past the commentary box. Heading to the finish, and it's a 64.88 Glyn Davis.
So Thomas Taylor should be getting towards the end of Cedar Straight now near me, but it's Andrew Russell now, who's currently second, but some 5 seconds to make up on class leader Carl Jones.
Yeah, Thomas Taylor into museum, cocks a rear wheel up in the air, now speeding over the crest of the hill. A new personal best for Thomas.
Well, 61.46 puts him up into second place in the class, which was held by Andy Russell. So he's on his way to the top of the hill. Carl Jones' class leader is Hansel when he left the start line.
Right, well, we've got the little G15 Hartwell Imp-powered Janetta. Andy Russell already out of museum then. And total time 61.02. So he now goes into second place.
So Carl Jones on his way now, and next away from the lining we move up into the next class. It's Stuart Stelling with the RS2000. We've got red flags coming out, so Stelling will return straight back to the paddock for the rerun, car number 59. Well, that time from Andy Russell, 61.02, good improvement. Goes back into second place ahead of Thomas Taylor. And obviously a problem for class leader Carl Jones because the clock ticks on. But it looks very much as though he's in charge of the class. Ben Cross to run in the Nova, and he's up 9 seconds to trip. So it looks as though whatever the problems for Carl Jones on the second run, he's taken the class on his first. Can you see up there, Steve, what the problem is with Carl Jones?
No, I can't see it, but I've actually been making inquiries, and apparently he's been very, very kind, and he's distributed his gearbox and gearbox oil on the track. So there'll be a short while this is all cleared up. If there's any metal detectorists out there, I'm sure your help would be encouraged.
Might be a little bit like the jigsaw puzzle we had last weekend when that imp gearbox blew up on the line at Doon, Jerry.
Yes, exactly. It was a long delay, and I think they decided it was going to be lunchtime at that stage, didn't they? But it was in practice, and it was soon cleared up right on the start line.
We've already had lunch, though. I just heard a big bang when Carl was about due to appear. So I think I'm some gearbox exploding.
So it's towards the end of Cedar Straight then, presumably?
I would think it's just past Host 4 where they do an up change. I think as it's gone for the up change, it's blown the box. And the car, not in my view actually, down from where I can see on Cedar Straight.
It looks like we might have a short delay while the all is dealt with, and good time to remind you of the state of play of the British Championship prior to the very last round of the series, which will take place at the end of the afternoon. And winning the penultimate runoff this morning was champion-elect Alex Summers with a 44 seconds exactly, which was unofficially inside the unlimited class record. And in second place, well, his spring is 44.27, but unfortunately with his drop points that meant he didn't improve in his place in the championship. He remains in third place ahead of Trevor Willis, who finished fourth in the opening runoff behind Scott Moran, the five-time champion. So it's still all to play for second place overall in the championship, because 2 points adrift of the third place Trevor Willis. And if either of those should have a problem, Scott Moran is lurking in fourth place, but on 195 points, he's still somewhere to 5 points adrift of second and third place. So the battle is going to be between Trevor and Wallace in the final run, because 2 points behind. But Trevor has the advantage, he's not dropping points, whereas Wallace is going to be dropping 5 points. So he looks as though all Trevor needs is a good finish to hang on to second overall in the championship he won in 2012. And that win by Alex Summers brings the total number of wins for that iconic Gould GR61 to 156. By far the most successful car in the history of the British Hillclimb Championship.
Right, well, the recovery vehicle has just come up to Ballard to turn round. So he'll be picking up the little Mini and returning it to the paddock. Meanwhile, the clean-up operation continues.
Going to make the track interesting later this afternoon, isn't it, Steve?
In actual fact, Carl Jones was equal in 7th place up 8 after today on his final fling in the female mini, with Roger Moran getting that good result. See where he's finished in the class. This is winning the class. No, yeah, actually finished second, so doing a good calculation. Yes, in fact he wasn't dropping any points, so he will score 6 points, which will put him up ahead of Carl Jones, who's actually dropping at 6, so even with that class win he'd only score 3 points. Looking ahead, top of the table, Mike Turpin just needs a class win to take his 3rd Midland Hillclimb Championship. Unfortunately, Richard Jones can't match his score even with a record because he doesn't have enough in the class with Brabham to overhaul Turpin's lead. So if things remain as they are, so they will, because Mike Turpin is pretty well clear in the class, that he will take a 3rd Midland Championship today. The other class-based championship here today, of course, is hosting the final round is the H&DLCC Group Midland Hillclimb, MSA Hillclimb Leaders Championship, which is led by Colin Satchell, and it looks very much as though he's taking the win in that series, with Ed Hollier in 2nd place, not Alex Summers as it says in the programme, it's actually Ed Hollier who is in 2nd place. Summers has 75 points coming to Loton. Ed Hollier is only 3rd at the moment, so he looks as though it's a little bit unlikely to overtake Colin Satchell for the lead and the win in the Leaders Championship. But Satchell's had a great year with the wide track Peugeot, and it looks as though it's going to culminate in the
the little Carlton Jones is his full name. It returns to the bottom of the hill, and Carl's still at the wheel, holding on to the brakes. How's the clean-up going, Steve? Can you actually see that or not?
Right, Eddie, well, again, still can't see anything here. The recovery vehicle has gone down to pick up the Mini. And has that gone back into the paddock yet?
Yeah, the car is back in the paddock, and back of the course returning to the regular parking position, and the flags, yeah, looks like we're about ready to go again.
I was going to say, if the clerk's getting back in position, I think we should be about ready to kick off again.
Yeah.
Marshall's at the top of the hill, all ready to go, like oil spring.
Right, there's a car coming to the line, and Jerry will take over to complete this pass.
Thanks, Eddie. Well, it should be Ben Cross, the remaining runner in Class C1. It looks as though that's going to be one, despite the problem by Carl Jones from Andy Rutter in second place. Tommy Taylor's in third. Ben Cross is a bit down the order, so hopefully he can make up a bit of time in the green Vauxhall Nova. In fact, it's Tony Adams, who we didn't see this morning because the car wouldn't start the Lotus Elite. He's running in Class C2, which is led by the man we were talking about earlier, the man potentially in the front seat in the British Championship, Colin Satchel. So here's Tony Adams now with the lead, coming into and out the triangle bend, swooping into the right and left at keepers. No time on the board yet, of course, because of the problem. But here is Ben Cross now, the final runner in C1 with the green Nova, but it's Tony Adams and Eustace.
Yeah, and here comes the Lotus Elite into and out of Fallow. Up into there. And Tony Adams gets the 58.9.
Well, that time puts him into third place, 200 behind Sarah Bosworth in her relief. Meanwhile, we had a lot of tyre squeezing understeer from Ben Cross down the Nova. He should be viewing his second leg. He's got 61 now. Trevor Lacey out, sound man on the hill with the Renault Clio.
And Ben Cross three-wheeled his way through Fallow, now through Museum. Heading up over the crest, just the run to the finish. And the time for Ben, 69.06. Already into and out of Fallow is number 57. Sorry, number 61. Trevor Lacey in the 2-litre Renault Clio.
With another Clio on its way, Roy Holder.
And it's a 64.66 for Trevor Lacey. We'll look now for Martin Holder, here he comes.
Meanwhile, Steve Bailey charging through Triangle in the Escort Mark 1, which he currently holds second in class, second adrift of Colin Satchel.
Roy Holden out, heading for the finish, and he's through there in 64.75. So Trevor Lacey beats him. Now we've got Steve Bailey in this Mark 1 Escort. Chucking it into Museum Bend, sliding out, heading up over the crest. 57.51 on his first run, 55.95. Goes into the lead of the class.
Well, now we've got the ultimate hairdresser's car on the hill now. That of Sarah Bosworth in the Lotus Elite.
Excuse me, she's a barber, not a hairdresser.
Oh, sorry.
So Sarah,
What, chat? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Of course, yes.
And Sarah already a cut above the rest, heads over the top of the hill, through the finish. 56.61.
Now
He's got third.
we've got Stuart Stelling, and he's followed by Colin Satchell in the class-leading Peugeot.
Right, Stuart Stelling in the beige Escort. Heading up into Museum. 59.77 on his first run. Can he get into the low 59? Goes, yes he does, 59.23. Excellent run from Stuart. His best ever time at Loton.
Well, interesting situation because Steve Bailey has gone ahead of Colin Satchell, but Satchell on the hill now. Time he's got to beat to take the win is 55.95.
And it looks like Colin Satchell's not going to make it.
Well, we've got a 64-foot time for him, but marshals are doing some work, replacing some markers at Fletcher, so maybe he got a red flag and will return, because as Eddie has said many times, we don't have a picture of the start line, so yes, no, we can't actually tell you what the situation is at the moment, whether we will in fact see Colin Satchell, the man leading the Legion Championship. Well, we've got a failed run come up on the screen now for Colin Satchell.
Ooh.
So that could be interesting. However, he is leading the class, which is the crucial thing.
No, he isn't. Colin Satchell's in second.
He's in second place, sorry, yes, of course.
Steve Bailey leads 55.95.
Yes. Steve Bailey's leading the class, which means Satchell won't score because he's dropping 6 points for second place. So that means his score will be 81. So if Ed Hollier wins the class, there will be a tie break. But I think, I've not done the calculations, but it could be with fewer drop scores that Colin Satchell will get the verdict. So it may come down to a tie break. But Hollier, first of all, has got to win the class. Currently, he's in third place. So not entirely plain sailing for the man in front in the Leaders' Championship. Somewhere for Colin Satchell. We're not quite sure where. We're just trying to find out what the situation was.
Right, Jerry. It would appear that there has been a problem for Colin after the start line before post one, and the report is that there was a loud rattling noise from the car, and he stopped, and there may be oil on the track. We're not sure. Someone is investigating.
So it sounds as though the car lasted just long enough then, but we shall see. HDLCC then, over 2 litre modified series production cars, and Richard Davenall's on the hill now with the Porsche Boxster. Mike Meredith a non-starter in the Morgan. This class led by the man in charge of the Midland Hillclimb Championship at the moment, Mike Meredith. So here comes the Porsche Boxster now. Yeah, it's a huge machine. Richard Davenall's fourth in class at the moment, but some 4 seconds or so adrift of Nigel Elliott's TR7, which should be next up. In fact, it's left the line.
Here comes the Boxster. Davenall at the wheel. Into Fallow. Up into Museum Bend. Back on the power. And heading for the finish. Through there is 62.16.
Well, that puts him up into 3rd place. It's Nigel Elliott on his way now, followed by Jeff Twemlow with what seems to be a somewhat off-song impression. I think he had a problem at Fallow on his first run, but it's Nigel Elliott first.
The TR7 V8 charges up towards the top of the hill, and it's just a 60.41 for Nigel Elliott. To me, like the class is in the bag for Mike Turpin.
It does rather seem like it. Although Nigel Elliott moves up into 2nd place, we've got Jeff Twemlow on the hill, followed by Martin Silcox in his Impreza. Comes to the triangle now.
Yeah, Jeff Twemlow into Fallow. Very steadily after that first run spin, up into Museum. Heading for the finish, and it's a 62.28.
Oh, in the triangle then. Mike Turpin, Vauxhall VX220. He has got the lead.
Martin Silcox, meanwhile, heading for the finish. And through there, slightly slower than on his first run, 62.5. Mike Turpin already out of Fallow in the VX220. Looks like he's driving to the Midland Hillclimb Championship. 57.95 on his first run. 54.05 on his second.
So 4.05, half a second away from his own record. Looks very much as though he's sewn up his 3rd Midland title.
And already heading up towards Fallow is Martin Watts in the Silver Riot. He's got the 1 litre Yamaha R1 engine in the back. Improved 57.24 with the North TV for Martin Watts.
So meanwhile, sliding the car as does his co-driver Tom Paul through triangle. It's Lloyd Chaplin in the Empire Suzuki. Liam Cooper leads the line in the 4th Suzuki HC, now in Class I.
Oh, and Lloyd has spun to a halt on the outside of Museum. And over the visor. And he's stuck on the corner. So that will be a failed run for number 785, Lloyd Chaplin.
Well, we momentarily had a picture from the start line, first we've had this afternoon, and it looked like Darren Gumbey sitting on the line. So another of our British Championship contenders. He'll be next off in the Empire race. He shares with Simon Fido, who had a bit of a problem and slowed on his opening run, so he didn't have a chance of making the cut for the runoff. We've still just got those 2 qualifying places so far, David Warburton and Peter Herbert. But with all due respect to them, we don't expect that they're going to be there at the end when it comes to the final 12.
And Lloyd Chaplin back onto the black stuff. Fair bit of dust on the track at the moment.
Well, Liam Cooper's back in the paddock with the 4th HC. for his rerun. Darren Gumley's on the line.
So red flags coming in.
Flag down here, whistle blowing. He should be full set for Darren Gumley to make his bid for a runoff place. He's not in the top 6 in the class at the moment, which is led by Tom Poole in the car that Lloyd Chaplin had that slight problem with at the top of the hill. So just looking out now, Darren Gumley to come on out computer, having left the line. Which he does in 2.09 seconds. Good launch from the 1 litre Empire Evo, rather Empire Race Suzuki. And looking out now, round flanges. Here's Darren Gumley now. And late on the break, wheel up over the curve. The very difficult right-hander. He's already through keepers now and heading up Stephen Straight. And it's going to be Summers next up.
Darren Gumley heads into Fallow Bend, set a new personal best 52.4 on his first run. No problems at Museum for Darren. Heading for the finish, looks like it'll be a quicker time, and it is a 50.38 for Darren Gumley.
50.38, that's a good time. Puts him into second place in class at this stage. So it's still Tom Poole that leads now from Darren Gumley. Simon Andrews 3/10 behind in third place, but with a run to come, of course. So still nobody on the computer screen. It should be Lindsay Summers, who's also a registered contender. We've got quite a few in this class. Some 8 in fact. With that time, of course, Darren Gumley heads the qualifiers at this very early stage. Yes, it is Lindsay Summers. It's the line 2.18 second launch in the base frame DJ Firehawk. He talked about earlier. After the car was rebuilt, he debuted at the June press conference and beaten by Alex Summers. Stuck. Triangle. Second lower triangle for Chaplin, but he finished the run. And it's Sam Lester next up.
Summers into Fallow already in the DJ Firehawk. Through Museum Bend. Going to improve on a first one side. Braking area for Fallow.
Now.
Tremendous run there. Man's left at 52.98. we've got Liam Cooper up into the back end, similar to Lloyd Chaplin's manoeuvre. Which over the line for 51.64 for Liam Cooper. That's the new PB. Dave Spencer, meanwhile, into the braking area for Fallow. Up into Museum Bend at the Kawasaki powered radar.
And we've got Debbie Dunbar on here, another potential qualifier for the second runoff. 21.38.
Debbie Dunbar already out of Fallow Bend, up into Museum. 2-1-2 on a first one, goes up 50, no, and improves to 50.56.
Now it's Bernie Kevin on the hill with the OMS shared with Simon Andrews. He's just edged out the first car.
Bernie Cavill through Fallow. Up into Museum Bend in the IMS 28. 52.01 on its first run. 50.36 in second.
We've got red flag out for some reason, and car is coming into our side. It's all cool, although it's not come up on the screen back. It's all just posting down to triangle. It's down runoff. Back a rerun to into this package, but not there's much to come as well in defending DWR Raptor. So it's still from Pool that leads the class. A lot more runs still to come in the next batch. From Pool leads on 50.11, just a couple of tenths. Pool is second in back clear of Bernie Kemmel, Darren Gumley, much change on the second run. So we can hear a car spinning the rear, coming to the start line. But in this batch, we don't have Les Much and Sean Gould to run. Both of them looking to qualify at the moment. It's Darren Gumley on 50.302, leads the qualifiers. Debbie Dunbar, Ray Walbert, and Pete Urban, and he is the 2015 British Hillclimb Champion, Les Much, who is on his way in British defending GWR Raptor. Les took the class record
Ledmont up into Fallow Bend. No problems this time. Now into Museum. And the 2015 Scottish champion over the crest and through the finish, 49.16.
Well, that's the fastest qualifying time so far then for Ledmont, 49.16. What can Sean Gould do? He'll be the last in this batch. And two tremendous finishes at noon last weekend. Best for around about 25 years. Making a comeback on the hills for the UTR 59 this year. Yep, it's the cut for this runoff here at Loton. There's much currently fastest qualifier on 49.16. But 48 this morning, fourth place. Co-driver Iron Price leads the class, leading in the next batch.
Here comes Sean Gould into the braking area for Fallow Bend. Already up into Museum. The 48.17 on his first run. Can he get into the 47nd bracket? Yes, he can. 47.35 for Sean Gould.
Well, that's top qualifier at risk by over 2 seconds. 7.35. And that's the side.
Yeah, red flag around to the top of the hill. The car should be heading back down to the paddock.
So we can give you a quick recap of the start positions of this second batch of cars. And going back to Class C1, 1400cc modified series production cars, taking the win there despite the gearbox problems on the second run was Carl Jones. V8 ahead of Angra in the interim, 102 with his third place, Thomas Taylor in the BMC Mini 61.6. The 2-litre modified series production class. The win there went to Steve Bailey on 55.95. Edged out Colin Satchel in the Peugeot 205 GTI. He did second on 55.4, and that was only a so clear. That's back of Sarah Bosworth in third place with the lead on 56.61. Over 2-litre series production cars, 3. The win there went to the man who unofficially interviewed British Hillclimb Championship third time by 30, 55, and well clear of second place man Nigel Elliott on 6.41 and Phil Cox on 61.
car back on the line. That's number 79, Graham Lowe.
Yeah, here we are, back online, and yes, Graham Loach away from the start at a 2.04. We're now into the two-car class Class G over 2 litre sports libre. It's just the two runners. Graham Loach will be followed by Alan McDonald, all being well, and Graham Loach is out of our sight and heading towards Steve.
So the roller Porsche heading up towards Fallow Bend. Graham Loach, no problem at all through the corner, up towards Museum. Now the run to the line, 59.55 on the first one, time 57 seconds exactly.
Well, here's Alan McDonald. He did a sensational 1.85 seconds first, 64 feet. Yes, we've seen this afternoon by far. And with all that grip be translated into an even better time than his fast leading 54.26. Steve will tell us in a minute. Meanwhile, Harry Pick has left the line. Red flag.
And it won't improve because Alan has ground to a halt on Cedar Straight. I could just see the little mini Evo having stopped. Marshals are in attendance. So Harry Pick, he said, on the hill, he will have the red flag.
So Harry Pick already back into the paddock gate. Nevertheless, Alan McDonald, even with that failed run, he will have won the class with his 54.26 earlier.
Alan hasn't been able to coax the little mini Evo back into life, so he's slowly backing down the course. But they'll try to turn him round and then coast back down to the paddock.
And we have a car coming to the line. May well be Harry Pick. Alan McDonald's been parked up somewhere on the hill. It's slotted in on post 5. So it's Pete Tatham. Pete Tatham in the Force HC, recently acquired from the Fugit brothers. So Pete heading our way now, coming down towards us. Down at the triangle bend, on and off the throttle a bit. The back end skips out, he controls it. Turns in and out of keepers, and he's away along Cedar Straight. Steve will pick him up any moment now. That's Pete Tatham.
And here comes the Force. A bit of a squirrely moment on brakes into Fallow, but he's on track, up into the museum already. Now the run to the finish. And he's over the finishing line. 54.9.
And now we're looking at the Tom Paul. He brings the little Empire Evo. Sail quickly out of triangle, takes the keepers smoothly, but rapidly heads off along the long Cedar Straight up towards Steve at Fallow Bend.
Tom Poole leading the class at the moment on a 50.11, braking heavily into Fallow, uses every millimetre of track on the exit. Now up into Museum Bend.
And red flags for Rob Capper.
And Tom Poole slower than on his first run, 50.13.
So Rob Capper will be brought steadily back down the slope from H&DLCC into the paddock. So it's Harry Pick back on the hill. Got a red flag after pulled up after Alan McDonald stopped. Here he comes now. He's in the Sol 600 operating today. He's in the class now merged with Class I, and where the cars Harry Pick really going to broke in his lower mess Hornet. Already powering up along Cedar Straight. Steve will pick him up just about now.
And here comes Harry with the little OMS Hornet. 53.66 was the time from his first run. Now up into Museum Bend. Car darts through the corner, over the crest of the hill, and through the finish. 52.98 for Harry Pick. That's 52.98 for Harry Pick, while Olivia Cooper now comes towards us. Rob Capper will get a restart. Not many runs time. Here comes Olivia heading along that short shoot to the straight and into and out of Keeper's Bend, away already along Cedar Straight, speeding up towards the top of the hill and Fallow Bend. Yeah, and to get round Fallow Bend this time, had a problem on her first time run. No such problems this time for Olivia. Up into Museum. Husband Liam did a 51.64, and Olivia, a new personal best, 51.2.
And next up is Steve Hart. Little PCD Saxon Heath Championship registered. So when he's taken his run, we will have 9 potential contenders for our final runoff of the season.
And Steve Martin into fallow with the PCD Saxon, very pretty little car. Driven by Loton Park, with now still holds the record there. After the finish, 49.2. Class lead.
Over 2 seconds improvement over his earlier time. And Simon Fido on his way towards you, Steve. Meanwhile, Clive Austin away from the start.
Yeah, Simon Fido failed to get a time on his first run. He's already heading for the finish, and through the finish, 49.04.
Second. Runoff preparations. Meanwhile, Clive Austin is fastest in the second Empire race.
Clive comes into view with the Empire race. Just clipped the grass on the outside of fallow. Now heading up into Museum. A tentative first run of 52.8. This will be a lot quicker. It's a 51.16 for Clive Austin.
Now Rob Capper on the restart. Championship registered contender Robert Capper heading your way. Stephen Martin Jones on the hill. Martin sharing the DJ Firehawk with car owner Lindsay Summers, who we've already seen.
Rob Capper, meanwhile, heading up to Museum Bend. From the line. Looks improved, 52.04, slightly slower.
And the DJ Firehawk quite twitchy in Martin Jones' hands down here. Hope he does better further up the hill.
And Martin already into and out of fallow. Up into Museum. First time he's driven this car at the Loton Park. And through the finish, 50.
The remaining member of the Summers clan in this part is Felix, who's already on his way up towards you on Cedar Straight. Meanwhile, Jim Spencer in the family Reynard is on his way towards us. We'll catch him any moment now. Here he comes.
Very, very slow through fallow. Heading up towards the finish. And it's a 53.8 for Felix Summers, no improvement. Jim Spencer breaking hard into fallow with the Reynard Kawasaki. The only car under the Kawasaki engine in the 1100 class.
Andy Dunbar coming our way now.
And 50.4.
Simon Fido still sitting on top of the class leaderboard.
Andy Dunbar interview. Safely through fallow, up into Museum Bend. Over the crest, on the run to the finish.
Red flags.
50.72 for Andy Dunbar.
Puts him 7th in the runoff build-up, and Peter Herbert now the man at the top end of that.
On the bubble.
So Tom Hall has slipped from first to third with Simon Fido and Steve Marr bettering his time. And now on the hill we've got Simon Andrews, who briefly led the class much earlier today, perhaps midway through the morning. Here's Simon Andrews now. Now 2 seasons old, OMS 28. Mike Andrews, no time recorded, I see.
Simon Andrews into the braking area for Fallow already. Needs to go sub 49 to take the class lead. Over the crest and through the finish 49.83.
There goes third in class, displaces Tom Paul, a further place. And there's Nev Rollison, the only Formula Ford runner today. Goes past us. Next on the hill is Phil Cook. Final of our Empire race this afternoon, but Phil Cook running in the 1600cc class. Bigger engine for Phil this season.
Braking into Fallow, the Empire race through the corner, now on into Museum Bend.
Mike Andrews goes past us, gets a restart after an NTR when the clock stopped under him.
And time for Phil Cook, 51.8. And just about holding it on track, but missing the gear change, coming out of Fallow, going very, very slowly now. Once again, Mike Andrews, North HC, finally through the finish, 56.86.
And John McKenzie on his way towards you.
John in the OMS 2000M, space frame chassis, Suzuki Hayabusa engine, taking out 1585cc. John safely through Museum, over the crest, over the finish, 49.85.
Now Mark Dalton has passed us, OMS 2000M.
Yeah, Mark, another one not to get a time on his first run due to a fail. Now heading up into Museum Bend, another of the space frame 2000M OMSs. Mark head down, charging for the line, and it's a 53.02.
Now looking out for Kelvin Broad, just left the line, the Suzuki 1600cc powered Pilbeam MP62. That's Ed Hollier's dad fixed up with this engine a couple of seasons ago, and in which Ed Hollier won the Gersten Top 10 Challenge a couple of seasons ago. So Kelvin Broad continues on his way.
Yeah, Kelvin into Fallow already. Safely through Museum, over the crest and charging for the line, and it's a 48.83 to Kelvin Broad. That's a personal best time for Kelvin here at Loton Park.
And second fastest qualifier, Kelvin Broad. First of engine note and always from the start line, but we haven't seen anything come up on the timekeeping system. Now we do, and it's Tina Hawkes. We didn't see Tina this morning. Did not start this morning, and here she comes now. Very quick Southwest Midlands lady driver. Car down towards the quite tightly around Triangle Bend, speeds down that short straight, and the keepers makes the exit, heads on her way up Cedar Straight.
Tina Hawk's interview through Fallow, sweeping up into Museum Bend. Good tidy run from Tina, already over the crest and through the finish 49.39.
And that puts Tina in 6th place. Dave Watson disappears off the top, and here's Simon Price, currently 2nd in the 1600cc class behind co-driver and constructor Sean Gould. But Richard Spedding, Ed Hollier still to run.
Iron Price braking heavily into Fallow, runs the rough strip on the inside, now up into Museum.
Ed Hollier away from the start.
And Iron through the finish, 46.33.
Takes the lead in that 1600cc class. What can Ed Hollier do? Currently 4th, he needs to improve on that. Iron Price fastest qualifier so far, and Harry Pick off the top. And no longer in the qualification race.
Ed Hollier into Fallow already, powering his way up to Museum. Needs to beat 46.33 to go into the lead of the class. He's not going to do it. At 47.48 Ed Hollier.
So moves into 3rd place, but that's not what he wanted in the chase for leaders' points. Needed the win. And here comes Richard Spedding, the owner of the DWR Raptor, sharing with Les Much today. Les Much currently 6th in the chase for the final runoff of the season. Rich Spedding with you now.
Yeah, Richard Spedding swiftly through Fallow, heading up into Museum. Lifts an inside wheel going through the corner. Spears over the finishing line, 45.95.
So top qualifier, and takes the class win as well, 45.95.
Yeah, super run there.
Ed Hollier down to 4th, and here comes Gary Stevens into the 2-litre normally aspirated category now. And to be followed by Nicky Cottrell.
Gary Stevens into and out of Fallow Bend. 1999 Formula 3 Delara. Heading to the finish and improves to 53.32.
Massive improvement for Nicky Cottrell. Over 5 seconds over her earlier time.
No, that was Gary Stevens'
Gary
time.
Stevens.
Nicky just heading up towards Museum. With the hill beam. 38.58 and improves to 57.36.
Still a decent improvement. Nicola Dearden's gone past us now and away from the start line. Bill Morris, burst of noise from the Millington Evo Diamond engine.
Nicola Dearden safely through Fallow, heading up to Museum. A little bit slow through the apex. Powering her way up towards the top of the hill and through.
Bill Morris.
Yeah, here we've got Bill Morris from Haverford West. His mill beam MP88. The Millington engine in the back. Bill heading up towards the top of the hill. I don't think he's going to improve. Slightly slower with a 53.2 apex for Bill Morris. And
here is Steve Owen. car constructor. Oh, the car slithers about wildly as he leaves Triangle Bend. He's sharing Andy Macbeth's S25 supercharged car.
Steve Owen into Fallow. No problems at the top of the hill as yet. Through Museum Bend. Over the crest. And through the finish, 48.69, fractionally quicker.
That slotted Steve Owen into 5th place overall in the build-up for the final run-off of the season. And now here's Davey Wren, who'll be looking for a good qualification position. Oh, big bang from the exhaust as he backs off for keepers. He's gone, he's away.
Yeah, class leader on a 46.01. Into Fallow already. Davey Wren heading into Museum. Looking very, very quick indeed. Powers his way over the top of the hill and through the finish. 46.52.
Qualifies 3rd behind Beddingham Price. And here's Sandra Tomlin, ran a little bit wide out of Triangle Bend.
Sandra Tomlin in the Pilbeam Judge through Fallow. Heading up into Museum. Good smooth run from Sandra. Now just the run to the finish. And it's the 50.92 for Sandra Tomlin.
That doesn't qualify for the run-off is Tony Hunt. Tony Hunt's head bobbling about under the sheer force of the acceleration out of Triangle Bend.
Well, here comes Tony Hunt with the Cosworth HB powered dual through Fallow, up into Museum. Tony on the loud pedal, charging up towards the finish, and it's a 49.16 for Tony Hunt.
Yeah, ties with Les Much, 9th equal qualifier. That's John McKenzie off the end. Here's Wallace Mingus. Second place in our first run-off, an hour and a half ago. Here's Wallace now, nice tight lines around Triangle Bend. Equally well dealt with at Keepers Bend, away along the top straight, Cedar Straight up towards you, Steve.
Here comes Wallace now into Fallow. 45.03 was his first time run. Out of Museum, on his way to the finish, and it's a 44.57.
And fastest qualifier, Wallace Mingus. Who have we got now? Well, it's none other than Captain-elect Alex Summers, winner of our first run-off. Lovely smooth run from Alex Summers. Absolutely rockets away along Cedar Straight up towards you, Steve.
Qualified on a 45.09 from his first time run. Safely through Fallow, up into Museum. No problems whatsoever. Looking very, very smooth as he charges over the finish. 44.55. Just edges out.
200s quicker than Wallace Mingus and our fastest qualifier. But Will Hall away from the line now. 1.89, 0 to 64 foot for a two-wheel drive, slick-shod, single-seater. Actually not as quick as Davey Wren. Davey Wren was 100 quicker. Now here's Will Hall. Now he gets into the run-up. Can he score a point? Will Hall on his way. And we should just have 147.
Yeah, Kingdom's Will Hall in the 460 up into Museum Bend, charging over the crest and through the finish 46.4.
So that is 5th place for Will Hall in the build-up to our second and final runoff of the year.
And on the hill now, 147 Rodney Isles in the Dallara. This is Forest Isles' new car that Rodney's sharing today. The ex-Andy Platt Dallara out of Museum, over the crest of the hill, and Rodney through the finish 52.73. And red flag's already out, and the batch starting to get ready to return to the paddock.
So currently fastest qualifier for our final runoff. Alex Summers on 44.55, closely followed by Wallace Menzies 44.57, and Richard Spedding currently third, 45.95, with still 11 cars to run. No, 10 cars to run. So let's have a quick cut back through the previous classes. So in the Sports Libre over 2 litre class, well, Alan McDonald failed on his second run, but he still takes the win in the class with a 54.26. And then moving on from that particular class, we will take a look at the racing cars up to 1100cc. So in that class, the winner there is Simon Fido, 49.04 his winning time. Only completed 1 run, a fail early. Here's Alan McDonald coasting back down with the mini engine. Actually is running. So Simon Fido, Class I winner, 49.04. Second place, Steve Marr in the PCD Saxon, 49.2. And then the third place, Simon Andrews in the OMS 28 with Suzuki Power Plant, 49.83. All 3 of those having displaced early leader Tom Paul, who finished 4th in the end with his earlier in the day 50.11. Just the 1 runner in the Formula 4 class, that's our old pal Nev Rollison, 60.33 on his second run of the day. And yes, we can give you the 1100 to 1600cc class of racing cars, and Richard Spedding taking the win there, coming through from behind, 45.95. Second place, Einan Price, 46.33, and his co-driver in the Jet Black Gould GR59, Sean Gould, 47.35. That's as far as we can take you to this point. And Jerry will take over the mic duties in the next batch, and I'll handle the good old-fashioned blocks for him in case anything goes wrong.
So coming up, we have the final batch of cars which contain potential qualifiers. As you mentioned, there are still 10 more drivers bidding for a place. At the moment, it's champion-elect Alex Summers who leads the way in qualifying on 44.55, as Wallace Menzies, Richard Spedding, Einan Price, Will Hall and Davey Wren. That's the top 6. The cut at the moment is as much as 49.16 in 12th place. Well, the cut this morning was Will Hall on 47.83. So if the form follows this morning's running, it looks as though we're looking somewhere around the region of Davey Wren, Sean Gould or Ed Hollier, who are going to be at the back end of the cut. They ran quite a bit slower on that second qualifying run for whatever reason. He qualified 6th this morning on a 46.01. Well, he was half a second off that pace in the second run. Wallace Mingies on the same form, second fastest qualified so far with 44.57, and Alex Summers on top with 45.55, just 200s ahead. But we certainly expect drivers such as Trevor Willis and Scott Moran to get somewhere in amongst those two. At the moment, as we mentioned earlier, it's still Trevor Willis who's hanging on to second place in the championship, just 2 points clear of Wallace Mingies, but Wallace is dropping 5 points in this second run-off, so it's a bit of a disadvantage to Trevor. So this final group of cars just returning to the paddock, and then we'll be back in action with the 2-litre single-seaters, normal aspiration and full induction, and then the big single-seaters. So we're looking out for normally aspirated 2-litre single-seaters now, and Tim Davis, who currently leads the way on 48.89. Only 2 drivers breaking 50 seconds so far, the other one being Tim Elmer. Second place is DJD. It's Charles Williams who leads the way with the Philbin Vauxhall MC87. Everything to play for after a spin at Museum on his opening run in the X-Series car. He is now in the white suit, dives into the braking area, full triangle. 99 triangle as he goes to the supers now, to the right, and then the left. So looking to put his first official time on the board, Charles Williams, as he heads up towards Steve Wilkinson. Should be Gavin Stevens next up into the Lara box.
And we've got Charles Williams, first time out with this hill beam at Loton Park. Up into Museum, no problems this time. Powers away from the corner, bound to improve, and it's a 54.87 Charles Williams.
On the line should be Gavin Stevens. We're waiting for the name to come up. Yes, it is indeed.
£6,000 Dallara that he shares with brother Gary, who was very quick in a club as Mallock a few years ago. In fact, Gary at one time held the record. Now, the F399 Dallara, the Formula 3 car from 1999, got a 54.35 on his opening run. John Cotter should be next to still being he's away from the line too.
Gavin Stevens up into Fallow. No problems there. Heading to Museum. The time he needs to be 53.32, which was his brother's time. Gavin slightly slow over the 55.
John Cotter are working past us now and into Fallow. And next up will be Ian Fido with another of the Terry Davis Yamaha-based V8 in the back of the OMS. Getting away, it's 100% quicker off the lawn than John Cottrell.
John Cottrell up into Museum Bend already with the MP82. 54.99 on his first run, and he's slightly slower than the 55.
Up and ready, rounding triangle with the red OMS. He's campaigning for several years, shared with Tim Elmer for a number of years while the Dallara was still being readied.
And Ian Fido through Fallow. Distinctive engine notes coupled with tyre squeal as he goes to a Museum, heading up over the finish. 51.29.
Improvement for Ian Fido. Doesn't get close enough to Jeff Keel, who's currently in the fifth place. Now we've got Mike Zagonic in the motorcycle engine, Pilgrim MD101 with bored out high boots at 1634. He's fourth at the moment. And George Bluestone next up in the KV6000 still being moved.
Mike Zagonic heading for the finish. 6.84 on his first run, slightly slower.
Now it's the man who's second overall in this quite big class at the moment, Tim Elmer, with another of the Terry Davis V8 bike base units in the back of his Dallara. This is M303, ex-Alan Warburton and Martin Grove car from many years ago. He used to run a V6 Opel.
53.08 for George Bleasdale.
Car at Prescott back in June. Andrew Henson followed him up. He's just left the line with his filming Vauxhall.
Tim Elmer safely out of Fallow, up into Museum Bend. 49.6. Oh, and he's on the grass on the inside of Museum. That's ruined the run. 9 drifts away.
Yes, that's ruined the time, 50.84. Crafty moment. So he's hanging on to second place in the car, but Andrew Henson could affect that. It's 49.69 to beat for Henson.
Yes, Andrew Henson already into Museum Bend. No problems for Andrew. Fires it over the crest and through the
now, the Guernseyman in the Vauxhall powered OMS CF04.
And Jeff comes into view, braking heavily into Fallow, onto the grass just on the outside of the bend, but keeps on going. Now out of Museum. And Jeff Gill through the finish, slightly slower as you would imagine, 52.01.
Unfortunately, that doesn't qualify for the run-off. It's still as much as 49.16, but Jim Davies is starting out. In the bag, first run, 48.89 is enough to take the lead. Still there, going to take the win. Can he improve on the time?
We're looking now for the red hill beam. Here comes Tim Davis. No problems at all through fallow. Neat and tidy into museum. Heading for the finish and slightly slower on a 49.67.
Harvey's got the class win, 48.89 on his opening run. Which means Andrew Henson is second. Tim Elmer's been edged out for third. And now we have the last one. Sharing with his father Tony next year, and his uncle Roger sharing the car with him today. So Forrest was a bit to do to make up on his uncle. 52.73 to target.
Yeah, and he had a few gearbox issues on his first run up into museum this time. No problems this time on the run. And over the crest and through the finish, 52.5. Does beat Rodney.
Yes, by a quarter of a second. So good second run there for Forrest. Into the fourth induction. Not going to championship, sharing his car today with Steve Owen, who's currently qualified in 9th place. Will that 6th place in the runoff though? So the former air traffic control man is well on his way up to follow in the supercharged OMS Suzuki.
Yeah, and he's into museum already. Safely through the corner, no spin this time. And Andy Macbeth over the finish in 51.11.
So he's got time on the board after that early morning spin. The car is by a win, co-sponsor of British just down the road. Weaving a bit as he gets on the brakes for the first 5 or 6 disappears from out of sight. He's got to speak to as much as 49.1 to get in the run-off, but realistically he goes down with a 47 of some sort to qualify, we suspect.
And he's heading up into museum at this moment. Graham winning the Force PC, charging over the crest, heading for the finish, 49.05. 100% slower than Simon Fido. It doesn't look like Graham Wynn's going to make the cut, unfortunately. So now we've got Simon Moyes, in fact, on the hill now. Yes, Simon already into fallow. Neat and tidy run through museum. Lifts an inside wheel as he goes through the corner and charges over the finish, 49.78.
That's not going to qualify, unfortunately. 49.78 for Simon Moyes. So now it's his fellow 59 drivers. With a different nose, you might notice that he's turned black. In fact, after clouding of some of the markers, this is one of Sean Gould's spare noses and front wings off his 59. The work stuff.
So Paul Hames comes into view. Equalled his personal best time here at Loton on his first run with a 46.95. What can he do this time? Again, that front inside wheel off the ground through museum and over the finishing line, 46.57.
A good time for Paul Hames. That qualifies him in 7th place. Now it's Simon Fido on the bubble. Comes through flying.
Nicola's first run time was a 51.9. You hear the force approaching. Nicola into the braking area for fallow. Runs the curves on the inside, now up to museum. Safely through there, over the crest, charging to the line, and it's a for England.
The all-time of fire goes 49.04, and Paul Cruz goes through in this unique Philbin Jaguar. It was the very first Philbin to be built by Roy Lane and Mike Philbin, but now fits the V6 Jaguar.
Yes, originally had a Cosworth DFL in the back, now got this V6 Jag engine. Paul up into museum to 54.48 on his first run. Quicker.
Now on the hill with Terry Davison on start with Terry Gray with the dual Cosworth TFR, the somewhat older GR37 model, still going strong with the X-Crawler 1.5 metre engine, but he's got to beat 49.04 immediately to get in, but once again we're looking at 47, possibly even 46, 45.
Terry Gray's first one, 5.
Well, 50.02 is not quick enough to make the cut. So what can Ollie Tomlin do? He's got in to run off in the first run off, through 7.
And Oliver Tomlin breaking into Fallow, now back on the power, up into Museum Bend, super smooth as ever. Oliver Tomlin charging to the finish, and it's 46.63.
So that's Simon Friday off the end. That's a 8th place qualifier there for Oliver Tomlin. Clear of the tie with John Bradburn, Lego Break Racing Championship, and he repeats the dose this afternoon.
Alex Crawford up into Fallowbend already with the GR55C. Through Museum, heading to the finish, and it's going to be a 47.14 for Alistair Crawford.
Well, at the moment, that's 9th qualifying place. That's good luck, and John Bradburn, follow the H3 Cosworth power tool GR55.
Here comes John Bradburn, breaking into Fallow, uses all the curve on the inside, now up into Museum, powers it out of Museum, over the crest and through the finish, 46.47.
Exactly the same time as Will Hall, so that's fifth equal qualifier. So now it's Ed Hollier on the bubble, 47.48 in the number 12 spot. Tom New should be next to the line with the GR55 vehicle, which is what it's making his second start qualifier at the moment. 4 qualifiers remaining, and Tom New's away from the line. It's a sub 2 second launch for Tom New. 15th class at the moment, so what he's going to be interested in is qualifying well up to the second run off.
Tom New arriving at Fallow. Good tidy line through the corner, now up into Museum. On the power early, over the crest of the hill, heading through the finish, 46.22.
Well, series of bends here in front of our comedy boxes triangle. Disappears already to the side. Not qualified, still Alex Summers on 44.55.
And Trevor, heavy braking into Fallow, slowed quite appreciably at the apex. And again, after Museum, hesitation, back on the power, running to the finish, 46.16. Trevor Willis.
46.17 for Trevor Willis, fourth qualifier. We've got Scott Moran to go. He's on the way now.
Yeah, Scott's already into fallow in the GR61X, the most successful hill climb car ever, and now heading for the finish through there, 44.31.
That comes down on Morgan. Oliver Tomlin is the final qualifier. And now we're into the classic race cars, and it's John Hewitt in the Rover 5 litre powered Link car.
Yeah, the Link car Atlantic, now with this 5 litre Rover V8 shoehorned into the back. John posted a 54.28 on his first run. Now heading for the finish, and slightly slower with a 54.65. And on the hill, Chris Whittaker in the Citroen Saxo.
Running in the all-way Loton Park Championship Class 1. Bruce Marshall is next up in the same class with the Mazda coming through triangle now.
Chris Whittaker, tyres squealing in protest as he goes through Museum, heading over the finish, going to be quicker, and it's a 69.57 for Chris Whittaker, a new personal best time. Bruce Marshall, meanwhile.
Daniel Mee from Class 2 of the All-Way Championship. He's right round the triangle now.
Bruce Marshall up into Museum. 72.13 on her first run. Needs to improve by at least a second. And doesn't. She's 72.24, so slightly slower for Ruth. Now we've got 8.57 Daniel Mee. Failed to record a time on his first run. Now up into Museum.
Becky Manton heads up towards you as well, Steve, the yellow midget.
Daniel Mee through the finish, 78.21. Becky Manton coming up into fallow will be the last runner in the batch with the MG midget. Safely through that corner now, heading up into Museum. Becky's first run was a 72.91. Heading for the finish, looks like it's going to be quicker. And it's a 71.68 for Becky Manton. So that concludes the batch.
Thanks, Steve. So we can tell you, we'll give you the running order when we come to the runoff itself with the adjustments for double drivers. But we can tell you unofficially that qualifying this afternoon is going to be on top, Scott Moran, then Alex Summers, Molly Smingin, Spedding, Trevor Willis, Tom New, Ian Price, Will Hall, John Bradburn, Dave Durant, Nick Lane, and Paul Thornton. A quick run through the class position after the second run. Starting with the normally aspirated 2 litre single seaters and taking the win there. In fact, he led throughout in the Philbin Minute. Tim Davis on 48.89. Moving up into second place, Andrew Hanson 49.50, elbowing out Tim Elmer to third on 50.84. In the fourth induction to the class, in there goes Xavier N, 46.01, and in Second place is Will Hall, 46.40, and third with the spare work MP59 nose, Paul Hayes on 46.57. So all three of those bookmates were cut. And in the large capacity stuff, taking the win, Scott Moran, 44.31. In second place, Alex Summers, 44.55, and just 200 behind in third place, Wallace Lingis, 44.57. Chores in the afternoon to sort out the official running order. We do have an computer, so we'll have to check it. We'll be underway very shortly with the final match of class run for the remaining sports racing cars up to and including 71 and the 1985 version. Single runners in sports racing up to 92 and the Formula Junior historic class. Then we finish up with the free class group of all-way UK Loton Park Championship. And in the next class we're going to see, we'll be looking out for Richard Jones to possibly attack that record of Peter Boyd. He's been under it unofficially in another class of another Midland, not in the Midland Championship class. That's 230. He goes 200 seconds away from it on his first run. Small looking out to see if he can actually complete that clean sweep of Midland Championship hill record. Peter Boyd in the Roy Lane Tech class. And that's four records that Gerson Town, which has been in the Midlands for the past few years, Walsh, Prescott and of course here at Loton Park, remaining records. And in the 386 racing division, should be a good battle there between Jonathan Barley and Stuart Reed as ever, but at the moment Barley has the advantage by over half a second in fact from Reed, but Reed will be looking to hang on to that place because he's in a very strong position. In fact, if he can take the win, Barley, he will move up to third place on the BNTR Tyres Midland Hillclimb Championship in the absence of Chris Aston, who comes third. He's only one point. If he finishes second, he won't get any points because he's only 6 points for second place. But if he does take a win, that's going to increase the score by 6 points. The third place in the championship. Mike Turpin winning the class becomes Midland champion for the third time. Richard Jones, with a record, can't catch him. He's been just 1 point behind. Managed to get that. Black's coming in now. Be underway with 372 sports racing car. Starting with Nick Carr in the Formula 3 Mark, 73 Mark 3DA. Goes away to 3-2. Josh Moss in the Central Loton. In second place. And Nick Carr comes third. So we're looking for this cars built by Max Moses, Graham Coker, Alan Rees in the late 60s, early 70s. Nick Tark on his way now. 51.16, the opening time for Nick Tark. Here he is now round Fletcher's, heading into Triangle. Bit of a tail wag, just gets the rear wheel on the verge on the exit, but safely through keepers now. And Josh Moss on his way with the Centaur Lotus twin cam powered ex-Formula 4 car.
Nick Tark up into Fallow with the Mark from 1970 Formula 4 specification race car. Nick Tark heading to the top of the hill, through the finish, slightly slower, 61.56.
So Josh Moss on a bit of a charge now. His opener was 56.98. This one could well be quicker.
Going quicker and quicker with this little Centaur, one of only 3 Formula 4 chassis that Centaur built. And Joshua heads to the finish, and slightly slower on a 57.47.
But all eyes on the tarmac now, because it's Richard Jones. He can't win the Midland, but he will finish second, but he'll be looking for that record, the only one of Peter Voigt's records that he hasn't got so far. 200ths away from it on the opening run. And here he is now, heading into Triangle. But rather suspect there's a bit of a problem there. He's not going as quick as we would expect. It took a long time for him to clear. And we understand from the marshals that he had a spin out of our sight earlier on, so Richard just touring up. He'll have to settle for that time, just 200ths outside that elusive Peter Voigt record. He's over the line, but he won't be too worried about the time as he's touring. Must be with you, Steve.
And it's actually a 65.78 for Richard Jones.
Well, that's spin early on out of our sight, ruled that out for Richard, but he's got the class win. But that new record will have to wait until next year, although he has the consolation of having beaten it in the BOC Alvin Classic class here at the end of August. So now we're into the 1985 sports racing and racing class, led at the moment by John Varley on 49.18. Stuart Ridge, well over half a second adrift in second place. So Ridge needs the win to move ahead of Chris Aspinall and into third place on the Midland Hillclimb BMTR Tyres table. So we can hear that big 5-litre rover in the back of Matt Morrison's Lynn car, built by John Hewitt, of course. He's already taken the car up on 54.28. Third in class in the 386 division. Oh, no, in fact it's Roger Dean. The V8 engine notes rather fooled us there. This, of course, is the big 5-litre Chevy in the back of the Lola T142. Made from the Lola T70 parts bins when that sports car became ineligible for the mould. So splendid ex-Formula 5000 car, rumble through keepers now. Roger Dean's in the Lola Chevy, heading up through the kink in Cedar Straight.
Roger Dean's downshifts into Fallow, up into Museum. The big 142, the chassis that was built for the 1969 Championship, over the finish 58.9. Roger Dean slightly quicker.
So this is Matt Morrison on the hill now with 5 litre roller power this time in the back of the Link car, ex-Formula Atlantic car, which its present constructor John Hewitt actually worked on in period when they were raced on the circuit. And here's Jonathan Varley now in this duel with Stuart Ridge. He's leading the way at the moment on 49.18.
John Hewitt out of Fallow, heading up to the Museum. Back in period was raced by Emilio de Villalba, Racer, and Matt over the finish, 56.77. That's his best ever time in the car at Loton Park.
So getting quicker every time. So Jonathan Varley on his way, Steve. He leads on 49.18.
He's at the top of the hill, into Museum Bend already, and as always with JV, he's on a charge over the crest, heading for the finish, 49.36. Lost it over the line. Sounded like a club kid there.
Oh, it's all down to this man then, Stuart Ridge. Can he grab the advantage after that slight mistake by Jonathan Varley? If he can snatch the win, he'll take third place in the Midland Championship. Win this next Rodney Isle Park. The M353, 2.8 litre straight 4 engine. He's already out of the final part of keepers and heading up Cedar Straight.
Stuart Ridge comes into view, leads the beat, 49.18, up into Museum, going to be desperately close, powering his way to the finish, and he's not done it. Stuart Ridge.
So that's slower than before, so he's going to stay in second place. Here's Richard Walker now in the Swallow Ford DR14 control runner in Class O.
Yes, the Swallow DR14 campaigned a few years ago by Stuart Webster, now one of the clerks at Prescott, has been run by the Hensons in the past, now with Richard Walker, he's heading up towards the finish. 7.2 on his first run, 56.94 on his second.
Just in case Stuart Webster is here, Steve, we should point out he's actually general manager of Prescott these days.
Is he? Oh, right. Right, we've got Phoebe Roll in the class record-breaking Elva. She's just gone off on the outside of Fallow and spun to a halt on the infield. No damage, lights up the rear wheels on the damp grass and back on the black stuff. So no new record for Phoebe on this run, but that 63.07 from her first broke her record from 2014.
So is James Peake getting a red flag? No, can't continue to come up the hill.
He's into Museum already with the Tiger Super Cat. Car for sale at the moment, and he's heading over the finish quicker than he was on his first run with a 66.46.
So Rob Whittaker on his way now, followed immediately by Paul Owen in the BMW TI3 series.
Yeah, Rob Whittaker into Museum then with the Saxo VCR. Heading for the finish and improves to 71.89.
So Paul Owen on his way. Edwin Toms next up with the Fiesta.
Here comes the BMW towards Fallow. Paul Owen in this 3 Series Beamer. Did a 70.14 on his first run. Heading to the finish, going to be slower this time with a 71.47.
So it's Edwin Toms then, just clearing keepers now to complete the class.
And the little Fiesta into Fallow. Heading up towards Museum. Edwin Toms' first run with a 68.01. Looking to get into the 67s. Through the finish. Slightly slower actually on a 68.52 for Edwin Toms.
So in fact it's James Peake that leads the way on scratch in the class on 66.46, but on handicap it's Rob Whittaker who takes the win with his 71.89. So now we're looking for the Eastway UK Loton Park Championship Class 2, which is led on handicap by Mike Rees in the Subaru Impreza. And actually, in fact, he's second fastest on scratch. Quickest scratch man is Steve Morgan with the Westfield. He's currently third on handicap.
Delay caused by some errant wildlife down at post 1, 2. Bit of venison on the hook. Back underway again.
Yes, Petter Marshall leads the line with the Mazda MX-5 in Class E. as we said, by handicapper Mike Reed. Peter Marshall's second on handicap at the moment. He's coming down with the MX-5 into triangle now. MX-5 increasingly popular for hill climbing. New class starting at Gurston Down for the cars next season. Of course, the Hill Climbers Sprint Association will run this class exclusively for MX-5 for a number of years.
Peter Marshall already into the braking area of Fallow. Now heading up to Museum. Heading for the finish, looks like she's going to be a bit slower than earlier, 75.14.
Meanwhile, the enterprising Richard Roberts is chucking the Fisher Fury around as he has been all weekend. Fourth in class on the track at the moment. Should be with you now, soon, Steve.
Yep, he's here now, into the braking area with the Fisher Fury. Up into Museum. Tyres scrabbling for grip. Touch of opposite lock on the exit. And over the finish, 61.02.
Good
Best
improvement.
time of the weekend.
Yes, good improvement for Richard. Meanwhile, Colin Lee's on his way with the Sprite, and Graham Manton is just about to come into our view here at Triangle with the midget.
Colin Lee into Fallow. First run. Nothing to gauge his performance by today. Previous best here at Loton, 76.43. Let's be there or thereabouts. And it's a 76.25. Colin Lee.
In fact, that puts him up into second in class on handicap.
Graham Manton, meanwhile, into and out of Fallow in a little Moxrod MG midget. Safely through Museum Bend, 69.17 on his first run. Slightly slower with a 70.51.
So meanwhile, we've got Toby Watkins with the big 3.5-inch size TR8 heading towards you, Steve. Andrew Collins charges into triangle with the Rover Metro.
And the TR8, big brutal sports car, hauls itself round Museum Bend, 64.48 on his first run. And it's a 63.95 for Dave Watkins. Andrew Collins, black and gold Rover Metro GTI up into Museum Bend. Looking to improve on his first run, 63.52. And it's 62.96. Good improvement.
We've already had Mark Bishop pass us now, and Mike Reese, the current class leader on handicap, is coming into triangle with the Cougar Impreza.
Mark Bishop, first run 62.37. And over the finish improves to 62.18.
Andrew Collins, I've got 62.96.
That's right, yep. And Mark Bishop 62.18. We've got Mike Reese in the Solberg Impreza. His first run was a 59.09. This time it's slightly slower, 59.36. Andy Brook now with the MX-5, change of car, having had problems with the Roadrunner yesterday. He's up into Museum with a 70.59 on his first run. He's being chased all the way up the hill by Steve Morgan. The 72.69 for Andy Brook. And Steve Morgan charges to the finish. Don't have a time coming up as yet for number 164.
Steve Morgan 53.43. Our computer's going a little bit haywire at the moment, Steve. Maybe you're having the same problem.
Yeah, we've not. We're now getting a time through for Stuart Warsaw, who's in the Jedi, who's just coming up into Museum Bend. This is a little 600cc Honda-powered single-seater. And Stuart's first run time, 59.77. He's slower this time with a 60.83. So just the one runner to go.
Well, we've got red flags out at the moment, Steve. Can you give us a time? Oh, we've got one now for Steve Morgan, 53.43.
That's right, yep.
Thank
So
you.
slower than on his first run. And in fact, it's looking like we've got a recall. So it looks like Graham Jones is not going to take his second run because he's running solo in Class E3.
So that must be the end of the class runs then. So just working back through those classes, Mike Rees takes the win on handicap in Class E2 with a 59.36. Colin Mee is second in class in the Easy Sprite with Petter Marshall in third place. And the first of our Allsway UK Loton Park Championship classes, won on handicap by Rob Whittaker in the Citroen Saxo from Chris Whittaker in the same car, and in third place it's Paul Owen in the BMW TI 3 Series, the BMW compact car as Eddie Chelsea. And Richard Walker ran on his own in the sports racing and racing class with a 56.94. Phoebe Rolfe won the junior class on her first run with a new record, 60.7. Jonathan Varley stayed in front of the pre-86 sports racing and racing cars to win with a 49.18 ahead of 49.76 from Stuart Ridge with John Hewitt in third place. And Richard Jones, a bit of a problematic second run, but he got within 200ths of Peter Voigt's record on his opener with a 52.32 to beat Josh Moss and Nick Tartt. So now we're coming to the final round of this year's Avon Tyres TTC Group British Hillclimb Championship, and if you'd like to turn to the appropriate page in your programme, you just checking to see what that is, and it's page 33. We're giving the runners and riders for this final runoff, round 34. So first to run will be number 6, Tom New. Then number 5, Alex Summers. Then those two will come back to the paddock. Then it'll be 1, 3, 6, Oliver Tomlin. 1, 2, 8, Paul Haynes. 8, 2, 9, Dave Duran. Number 9, John Bradburn. Number 3, Will Hall. 107, Ina Price. Number 2, Trevor Willis. Number 109, Richard Spedding. Number 7, Wallace Mingies. And last to run, top qualifier, number 1, Scott Moran. I'll just give you those numbers once again in case you missed them. It's 6, 5, 1, 3, 6, 1, 2, 8, 8, 2, 9, 9, 3, 107, 2, 109, 7, and 1. So fastest time of the day so far is by Alex Summers in winning the opening runoff on 44 seconds dead. That increases his total number of wins this year to 8. Scott Moran has already beaten that with 10, despite missing 10 rounds of the championship. But Alex Summers, of course, confirmed as British champion after that tremendous double win at Doon last weekend. And in fact, he qualified second quickest to his mentor, Scott Moran, in this final runoff of the year. Moran's quickest qualifying time, 44.31, just 3 tenths slower than Summers' fastest time of the day so far. So can the new champion make it 2 double wins in a row? Well, we can hear Tom New first of all coming to the line. He qualified 6th on 46.22 in the car that he's prepared and shares with Wally Smingers, who's on a particularly good roll at the moment. 3 second places in a row and a double win at Prescott a fortnight ago. And he'll be the penultimate runner. So looking for Tom New now. And he's away from the line, 2.03 over the first 64 feet. So we give you a split time at Triangle, waiting for him to come around Fletcher's now in the red X-Grove Ransom Philbin. Yes, a very good from Fletcher's, late on the break. 0.33 as he disappears round keepers and heads up off Cedar Straight to come into the sight of Steve Wilkinson.
Tom New into the braking area for Fallow. Nice and smooth line through the corner, up into Museum already. Braking hard, knack on the power, over the crest of the hill, and through the finish, 46.37. Fractionally slower than he qualified on.
Slower than he qualified, but quicker speed by a couple of miles an hour or so up Cedar Straight. Now it's Alex Summers who took the opening runoff win with what is currently fastest time of the day, 44 seconds exactly. Qualified on a 44.35 in second place behind Moran. So looking for that 9th win of the season. Can he make it 9, or can Scott Moran make it 11? We'll find out in a few moments' time. He's away from the line, 2.12, not as quick as Tom New, but he's probably going to make that up a little bit later on. Ultra smooth, almost in the mould of Scott Moran, in fact. He certainly wasn't doing last weekend. Here he is now, very quick, round Fletchers now, and the triangle split at 17.78, just taking a little bit of the verge. He's already out of our sight.
So we're looking out for the dual GR61X in the hands of Alex Summers through Fallow Bend, up into Museum. No problems at all for the young man. Over the crest of the hill, charges through the finish, 44.32.
So Alex Summers takes the lead, 130 miles an hour through the speed trap on Cedar Straight. Just 2 miles an hour slower than Scott Moran in the first runoff. So it looks as though the dynamic duo in this ultra successful dual GR61X are still leading the way. So 44.32 is the lead at the moment for Alex Summers from Tom New. So we wait for them to come back down the course, and then it'll be Oliver Tomlin.
Flags coming in after each successive marches, folks.
Well, the sun, as always, at this time of the year at Loton Park, is getting a bit low in the sky, which could cause perhaps a slight problem. We can't actually see it at the moment, but
it's actually over Wales, so I don't think it's going to be a problem of getting into people's eyes at the moment, Jerry, but I think what it's doing is casting a big shadow all the way over Cedar Strait. May well be reducing the track down.
Well, 44.32 from Alex Summers is only 32 hundredths off his best time of the day that he set this morning. So it could be making that very slight difference. It's ticking on a bit. We're at 20 to 6 at the moment. So the track reduction in track temperature could well make a difference. After Oliver Tomlin, but has Paul Haynes after that terrible year that he had. He just managed to scrape home in 12th place in the first run-off. He'll be hoping for better, qualifying 11th this afternoon. And of course the normally aspirated GR59 of Ireland Price qualified in 7th place. That's as this morning, co-driver Sean Gould, the car constructor, didn't make the cut. Xavier N qualifying down in 10th place, posted 6th place and qualified in this morning. In fact, finished 5th, so he'll be hoping for a bit of a comeback to maintain his record in the latter part of the season. He's currently 7th overall in the series, just 3 points behind Will Hall. And Will Hall, of course, not driving his regular car, but sharing Graham Wynn's for Suzuki. So he might just have a change of position there, but that remains to be seen when we try and top up the scores for you quickly at the end of this run-off.
Yeah, I would think the next 5 drivers there at last time has got to be that 46.37 confusion set. The target after these cars has all qualified slightly slower than that time.
Well, Tom New is due for another good result. Just looking back to see what his best result this year has. He had a couple of third places at Wickham Park and at the opening round at Prescott this year. So he'd love to do it again here at Loton Park just to round off the season. He's done some tremendous work on the car this year to get it running the way it has been. Wallace Means has certainly been on form with the car over the last 3 rounds. But with some flying flags coming in, we should be underway. With Oliver Tomlin in a very few moments' time. Qualified 12th on 46.63 with 4 litre Gould Judd. Fires up down by the start line. Here's the V8 from here. So he's bringing the car to the start. Putting up those rear BMTR Haven slicks. Paul Smith of BMTR here this weekend, of course, as ever. Here yesterday. He might be the race this weekend. Busy man. So Oliver Tomlin then. Away from the line. 1.86. Tremendous launch from Oliver Tomlin. One of the best we've seen today. So looking for the blue car now to appear around Fletcher's Dello. Away from the marker post, here he is. Full power, the triangle. 2.20. That's the best split triangle we've seen. But the wing clock is speed up Cedar Strait before he gets to Steve Wilkinson. And it's 108 miles an hour.
Ollie Tomlin into Falham already. Heading up into Museum Bend. Going very smoothly, now back on the power, over the crest, charging through the finish, 46.17.
Puts him into 2nd place, 2 tenths ahead of Tom New. So great run there for Ollie Tomlin, his last British Championship shot of the year. That's Paul Haynes coming to the line. Qualified 11th with the turbocharged School GR59 on 46.57. He loved a good result this year. He's had so much bad luck. He's just to see the best result he's had so far this year. Can't find him on the sheet. Oh, here we are. Yes, it looks like a 5th place at Prescott, and that was the opening round. He's not been able to match that for the rest of the season. So he'll be hoping that this will be his best shot, the very last one of the year in the turbocharged car. James Wills in attendance as ever. And Paul Haynes away from the line. Not the best of launches, 2.34. But he'll be trying as ever at round finishes. We're just looking out for the blue and white car now. And here it is. That looks quick, using all the road to the exit. And very late on the late side away from spin through 180 degrees at Triangle Bend. So what a shame for Paul. That final shot of the year came to naught with a spin at Triangle. So sadly, no points. Paul Haynes kept it on the tarmac. So Marshall's in attendance, just looking underneath the car. The car seemed to get out of control under braking in a big cloud of tyre smoke, and then finally spun. So there's a lot of observation going on, speculation. Lots of steam from the dry ice as well. Whether that was steam, it's certainly tyre smoke, but he had a problem with the dry ice before at Gersten Down. The charge cooling system, the car just being rolled back by our hard-working Marshall. As he said earlier, it's a great way to get involved in motorsport at the sharp end. So once the meeting is over, which will be very shortly, do go and have a chat with them to find out just how you can get involved. Without Marshall, there's no motorsport. Rolled back into the paddock. Unfortunately, no score for Paul. And that's just suppose he's going to finish in 16th place in the British Championship this year, after a troubled season, to say the least. Let's hope 2016 will prove better luck than this year. So now it's Dave Uren, who qualified 10th on 46.52. A little bit down the order for Dave at this part of the time of the year. So he'll be trying to get back up into contention. He finished 5th in the opening runoff with the turbocharged Ford Suzuki. Coming 7th on the table, he's away from the line. Good launch, 1.97, second quickest behind Oliver Tomlin at this stage. So he'll be looking for a 17-second split, or certainly a short 18 already. Inside now, and on the braking for Triangle. Easily the second quickest split to Triangle at this stage as he charges up Cedar Straight at 113 miles an hour.
Davey ran into Fallow, up into Museum already, car juddering under the braking, already over the crest of the hill, charging through the finish, 45.86 his best time of the day.
45.86 for Xavier, and that puts him into second place with that final charge. Well, in fact, his best time today was 45.77, but that's almost as good. Good enough for second place at this stage. John Bradburn now has lost a bit of ground to Alistair Crawford in the first run-off, but Crawford didn't qualify for the second run-off. At the moment, the points deficit is just 2 points, so he could get back ahead and into 8th place. Bradburn reads the line in 2.04, a good launch for the big car. Cosworth HP X-Form, the 1.5 litre V8 power in the back of the GR55. Here's John Bradburn now, and through, and celebrates nice triangle finish, 18.85 though. Almost 3/4 of a second slower than Xavier Benson, up the straight at 98 miles an hour, not as quick as we would have expected.
John Bradburn, no problems at all at Fallow, now up into Museum, powers out to the corner, over the crest of the hill, heading for the finish, 46.82 for John Bradburn.
That's going to be 5th place then for Bradburn, 46.82 already. Will Hall warming the tyres of Graham Wynn's fourth Suzuki up on the start line, qualified 8th in the borrowed car on 46.40. Has been dropping down the order a bit after the problems with his own car at Chelsea Walsh and the fact that he's missed a couple of rounds. Now he's away from the line, 1.94. Second quickest launch then for Will Hall. So he'll be looking for a low 18, maybe even a high 17. That's quick through Fletcher's. He's into the sprint, 18.22. And already Will Hall round the second part of keepers, disappearing from our sight up that very fast right left chink in the middle of Cedar Straight. Hits the speed trap at, it says 59 miles an hour. Is there a problem, Steve?
It is a problem for Will Hall, going very, very slowly, and in fact he's gone straight on at Fallow up into the holding area. And the engine seems to have cut out. And the car will now have to push a bit further up the access road to the holding area. But he's parked up right next to the rescue vehicle. So the car being pushed up the hill. So that will be a failed run for Will Hall.
So with failed runs for Will Hall and Paul Haynes, it means that anyone else to finish will get at least 1 point.
At the moment, lowest time of the runners is John Bradburn, which 1 point is not going to be enough for him to overhaul Alistair Crawford.
Oh, he needs 3 to do that, I think.
Yeah, that's right. He needs to, for a couple of other people to have problems. So now to John's hands at the present time.
So who gets it on? So just doing the quick calculations here with the help of Richard Danby. Alistair Crawford, if Crawford and Bradburn were to draw on points, Crawford will get the verdict on countback for 8th place. But now we've got Iron Price on the line, the winner in the damp at Wiscombe Park back at the end of July, qualified 7th on 42.33 in the work school, 2.28 launch for Iron Price. Not perhaps the best. Not on top form last weekend, tap out in the second half. It's very wide Fletcher, so leads the braking late car. Under the brake, and misses the gear and slows on the exit of Triangle. That was an 18.46 split, but that doesn't really matter because the car comes to a halt now on the first apex of keepers and will require a bit of a push to get it back into the paddock. Well, as Eddie was just saying, it's difficult to remember a more incident-strewn meeting than we've had here at Loton Park today.
Yeah, we've already got 3 people failing to get to the top of the hill, recorded time, in our final runoff, which actually at the moment means that John Bradburn is sitting on 2 points.
Well, he, at the moment, then is level with Alistair Crawford, and on Rich Danby's calculations, that means that Crawford would get the placing on countback.
On a knife edge,
A knife edge indeed, Steve. So Marshall's just pushing Iron Price's car back to the paddock.
Well, he's more of the top of the hill now in shade. Nice bits away. Four cars to go. Final top 12 runoff of the season.
Well, Iron Price's car just being pushed back now. Trevor Willis is next up.
And, he qualified on a 46.17 time that Oliver Tomlin is just equal. That's got to be beaten by Trevor.
He leads Wallace Mingers in by 2 points, but Wallace dropping 5 points, whereas Trevor isn't dropping any, so Trevor has the whip hand. So he would just need to finish in the top 3 or 4. That's Wallace on 44.57, which is a quicker time than Trevor's managed so far today. So we'll see what transpires in a few moments' time. Trevor Willis, always the hardest trying, or apparently so, and most spectacular driver, certainly in the British Championship. Champion in 2012, and finished in 2nd place thereafter. It was second place last year, in fact. Holding 2nd place now and looking to hang on to that with a car which is a good 100 horsepower down on the biggest V8. 25 tips on 46.17. Flags coming in now, so we're just waiting for Trevor to bring the RPE Hayabusa based V8, the vertical performance engine machine, to the line. Trevor warms up the rears on the OMS 28. Ready for his final attack of the year. Final shot of this 34 round championship. Of course he's lost 1 round, so he's actually 33 rounds this year. And Trevor launches the car, 2 seconds exactly off the start line. This will be a spectacular run, and coming inside the view of the triangle, the first view we're going to get of Trevor is round flanges. Here he is now, yes, that is quick, and smoking the boys on the exit, right on the point. 46.9, which is quick man in the numbers. And Trevor on the charge now with rocket speed up the Cedar Straight. It's 123 miles an hour for Trevor.
Sparking his way up Cedar Straight, now through Fallow. It's Trevor Willis on a charge in the OMS 28. 3 bricks of the throttle, round the corner and through the finish, 44.72.
Second place for Trevor Willis. So that certainly enhances his chances of staying in second place in the championship. We've got Richard Spedding now qualifying the tremendous 4th place with the normally aspirated GWR Raptor from the 1600cc class. Graham White Jr.'s creation, which has been driven today by Scottish champion Les Much as well. So Richard Spedding hoping for a successful end of the year. It certainly was as far as his runoff qualification is concerned. He's currently 13th overall in the championship. His best result being a 5th place on the Channel Islands in Guernsey, in fact, back in July. Qualified 4th on 45.95. New GWR Raptor built just over a year ago. Ran the car for the first time last year. Built by Graham White Jr. up in Aberdeen. Yes, Bankery, of course, as he reminds me. It's just on the road to Aberdeen anyway. In fact, it's west, I think, of Aberdeen. Talking to two, we've got the deputy clerk of the course from Doons, Bernard Williamson, watching on the on Rich Danby's worldwide coverage that hopefully we'll be able to see at a later date on the internet. So it certainly is going worldwide. The delay is just replacing the corner markers. You do prevent you putting too many wheels on the edge, not everybody. Famous picture of Chris Kramer, who is here today, winning the 1980 British Hillclimb Championship in his March 782 with just about 3/4 of the car on the green stuff on the apex of the triangle. Famous picture which appeared at the time. Still got a copy on it. But Richard Spedding away from the line, 2.17. Well, good launch for Richard. Can he make it into the long 17s in the splinter triangle? We'll find out in a minute. He's rounding 20 back. Not on the road. Moves on the brakes. 8.41. With the little 1600 Hayabusa Proud Raptor out of sight now, heading up to the right, left chink in Cedar Straight. Hits the speed trap at 103 miles an hour.
Into and out of Barrow, Richard Spedding heading up into Museum. Pushes the car through the corner, touch of opposite lock on the exit, over the crest, through the finish, 46.54.
And that's 6th place at the moment, 46.54 for Richard Spedding. 2 to go. The man on form these last few weekends. What his thing is, qualified 3rd on 44.57. Chris Kramer, who we mentioned earlier, supervising, as he has been for most of the season. Of course, he was Andy Crio's mentor as well, very successfully for several years. Still in contact with Andy. In fact, used his lightweight helmet when he drove the Gould GR84 at Chelsea and Doon last weekend. And what he's thinking, away from the line, 1.98. Terrific launch there for the big car, 1.98 for Wally Smith. Well, he'll certainly be looking for a 17 seconds split to triangle. And the red car comes into sight now. That's quick, and quick on the brake triangle. 17.4
far. So Wallace Ming is on the hunt for his third win of the year through the speed trap at 118 miles an hour.
Into Fallow already and heading up to Museum. Wallace very smooth indeed. Now Holman's attempts. Powers his way over the crest of the hill, and it's a 44.7.
Storms of applause and cheering from just behind us here. Wallace Ming goes second with a 44.47. So, the final British Championship runoff of the year. And the last man to run, appropriately enough, the 5 times British Hillclimb champion, Scott Moran, who qualified top on a 44.31. Could he possibly top his apprentice driver, Alex Summers, 44.32, 2.05. That's quicker than Summers on the launch. And this will certainly be a 17th of the split for Scott Moran. Missed 10 rounds this year. It's going to hit 17.40 through the split. That's been the quickest so far. So Scott Moran on a charge and disappears on the exit of the keepers. 44.32 is the time to beat. He's through the speed trap at 132 miles an hour.
And breaking down through Fallow, no problem at all. Scott up into Museum, super smooth as ever. Little bit of opposite lock on the exit. Powers over the crest of the hill through the finish. 33.66.
Tremendous run from Scott Moran. 43.66. That's just 14 hundredths of a second outside his hill record set in 2012. So appropriately, the outgoing British champion takes the win, and fastest time of the day here at Loton Park, 43.66. In second place, the new champion Alex Summers, 44.32. Third place, the up and coming man this year, Wallace Ming, 44.47. The ever hard trying Trevor Willis finishes in fourth place on 44.72. Fifth, it's Dave Uren back at the sharp end again on 45.86.
Jimmy, you're wrong.
Oliver Tomlin, sixth place on 46.17. Seventh place, Tom New, 46.37. In eighth place, Richard Spedding, 46.54. Ninth, John Bradburn, 46.82. And Ilan Price, Will Hall and Paul Haynes all failing to finish. Eddie Walters rapidly working out some points here, so we should be able to give you the top 3 places in the championship. And it certainly looks as though, well, we can try and do these calculations in our head. Alex Summers finished second. That's 9 points. He's dropping a 7, so he gets 2 points, which means that he's going to finish on 244 points. But of course, he's already taken the British Championship title and finished second this afternoon.
Right, Jerry, well, I'm going to pack up now and head back down to the paddock for the prize presentation, and I'll see you and Eddie at the bottom of the hill.
got a number 4. Tim Wilson.